Hey everybody, this is Brett, and I stopped in at Paul and Melanie's house here in Nashville, and they're going to show us the whole gig, and it's really incredible. So they've worked really hard, and so check it out. Paul loves sunflowers.
Yeah, I love my sunflowers. They're just an amazing thing. We just harvested this, and you see how big the seeds are, and they're delicious to eat just like this. You crack them in your teeth and eat them. And I love to give them to kids because they'll plant them, and they grow so quickly it really holds their attention. You know, some plants grow really slowly, and it's really frustrating for kids because kids want to see action. And so I love giving these to kids, and they're just incredible. Look how big this flower is. You can't be downcast when there's a flower this big to look at. It just lifts the spirits. It's like I hate to use the analogy Prozac on steroids, but it makes you happy. And I have a lot of trouble. I've had a lot of trouble with my weight, and so this is really a good food for me. Instead of sitting down with a bag of potato chips, I can sit down with some sunflowers, and I won't pile in, you know, way too many calories.
It's something to do, huh?
Yeah.
To take these and eat them.
Yep.
It takes time.
It takes time. Yeah, you're not getting a lot. But what you're getting, you're chewing really well, so you're getting all the nutrients out of it, and then you're only eating a small amount. And so it's a nice way, instead of sitting down with a bag of chips or a bag of peanuts, sit down with sunflowers, and you're not going to, I won't do myself in the way I used to do. And so this has really been a great adjunct to what I do with my diet. Thank you.
Okay, so you got a little flower garden going on here?
Yeah, my father really likes ornamental plants, and I do too. And so we planted this flower garden, and I mixed all the seeds together and just put it in here, and now we have beautiful flowers. And what I'll do is I'll save the seeds from these and use them again. And all the seed heads are coming due here, and yeah. And,
I love these purple ones. See these purple ones? It's absolutely stunning.
Well, we got a little weeding to do, but all in time.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, right here, I like those.
So Melanie, you're from?
I'm from London, England. I was born in London, and my parents lived just in the 30-mile radius of London, and that's where I've lived most of my life. And then
the reason we're doing this is because I have all these viewers from Great Britain, England, whatever, London. And
so right before I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, I lived in Balham in southwest London, which is known to be the gateway to the south. So I always find it quite amusing that not only was I named after Melanie in Gone with the Wind, but I also ended up in the south, and I love Nashville.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Paul's going to show us some plants that he consumes here on the farm.
Hello, we're in my garden, and these are all the things that I've planted, but one of the things that I've learned is that the weeds that come in are just as good or even better than the things I planted, and it's a bit of a dent to my pride, but I go with it because, you know, God is good and He gives us things we need.
And most people want to spray their weeds with Roundup.
Oh yeah, well we wouldn't do that. But we ask the question, when something comes to us, we ask, why is it here? And so I've got a field out here full. The brown tops out there are a plant called yellow dock, and I brought one here. And these little seed heads are good for making bread, and I like to put them in smoothies as a bit of roughage. They don't taste great, but they've got some sort of nutrient profile that I'm taking in right now, and I use this instead of, say, chia seeds. And then over here, I'll put that down, and then over here we have a lamb's quarter. This tastes as good as anything I plant in the garden. It's like a spinach. It's like wild spinach. And it grows into these huge trees and gets seeds, and the seeds propagate incredibly, and you have a huge patch of this stuff. The seed heads are just coming in. And these leaves are great in salads, they're great in smoothies, they're great to juice. This is a big staple. And
is this more of a medicinal or more of a staple?
It tastes like spinach, so like a staple.
And
it has a very deep root system, so you're getting into the deep the deep soil,
Mm-hmm.
where you have your trace nutrients and your minerals. So you're not just getting off the first 4 inches where that are usually very depleted after a few gardens.
Mm-hmm.
And then down here we have broadleaf plantain, which I love. Just 1 or 2 leaves I like to eat, but it's very good for bug bites if you have a sting. It has a it takes away the sting. I don't know how it all works, but it's effective. And this is a sorrel here, which I like to taste in small quantities.
We've seen that, haven't we, people?
It's pretty abundant.
Yeah.
And then here we have a dandelion, which is just...
We've all seen that.
It's amazingly
great
nutritious.
for your liver.
Yeah, it's supposed to clean the liver, and it's got everything you need. I mean,
anything bitter is like really good for your liver generally.
I don't, honestly, I don't really care for the taste. My father likes the taste.
I do.
Yep,
I like the bitter.
And but I'll juice it. I'll pop the whole root and put it through the juicer.
Mm-hmm.
And
you need the stem too.
Yep.
And the roots are even stronger.
Yep.
And there's a great book called Dandelion Medicine by Bridget Mars that you can learn all kinds of benefits about. Just the dandelion, the thing that people like to spray with the Roundup.
Now, something important about this plant, it was brought to the United States by the Pilgrims as a
dandelion?
As a medicinal plant. It's not native to here.
Huh.
And it was brought as a medicinal plant, and here we have it, and it grows in compact soil around human settlements.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that tell you about the
exactly.
the brainwaves of the plant? The plant's thinking, I got to help these people. I got to get into their human settlements.
There's no coincidences.
And that taproot goes down very far, and it aerates the soil. So you're getting aeration, and that's why it does so well in the compacted soils. It's living out its purpose, which is to help people and uncompact the soil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Action.
Hello, Paul here. I'm going to show you something called a myco board, which is, myco is the Greek word for mushroom, and then board is the English word for a piece of wood. And this is the invention here, and they come in all different sort of free-form, right-brain shapes. You can make the shape however you want. But it does several things. It keeps the weeds at a perimeter, keeps the weeds away from the roots of the plant, so you're not weeding all the time. And it also keeps the water in because it keeps the sun off the soil.
And do you use a specific kind of wood so that it won't rot?
Yeah, we like it when it rots, because one of the things it does is, I'll show you when I turn this over.
Making compost.
It has the mushroom mycelium. And actually, the faster it rots, the better.
Okay.
Because that mycelium is transforming this piece of wood into available nutrients and minerals to the plant. And something magic happens when you put wood chips or wood on your plants. They go bananas. And they really, really like it. And the two worst things for a gardener are weeding, watering, and the third thing would be bugs. But bugs come in when the plant's not healthy.
Right.
Their job is to clean up, because this plant's not healthy. We've got to take it out. But if it has mushroom mycelium, it becomes a very healthy plant. And these are just pepper plants that are just getting really going right now. And the fun thing about it is you cut them out on a bandsaw, and you can use all different shapes. Like, this is a good shape. That was my 2003 model. And then I thought, well, the plants are getting so big I can't take them off and on. So I came out with the two-part model. This is my 2014 model. And see all the mushroom mycelium here?
Yeah.
That's the thingamabob that does the job. And it has amazing qualities for the plants. And another thing it does is, if you've ever been a little boy looking for worms to go fishing with, you look under rocks and under boards, because that's where worms like to go.
Right.
Well, the same thing with the myco boards is, those worms are getting in there, and they're making a home there. It's a habitat for them, and they're aerating that soil and putting mushroom castings and nutrients there, and it's been very, very successful. And I have a huge garden.
Now look at these big ones. These are big, full logs.
Yeah, and these are this is a hollow log that came into the sawmill, and we didn't want to
throw it out.
We didn't want to cut it we didn't want to throw it out. We couldn't use it for lumber.
Right.
And
awesome.
So then we cut it up, and we're just trying to start some pepper plants.
And it's beautiful,
Yeah.
Okay, let's go check something else out. Look at all these beautiful cherry tomatoes that Melanie's picking.
Hope you like cherry tomatoes, Brett.
I do. I do. Yummy. I like to dip them in various things, but hopefully
Put some basil
I
in
can
there
make
for
something healthy. But yeah, just lots of good stuff here in the garden. Okay, y'all, check this out. We all know what stevia is, right? But we've probably never seen it in a fresh, live version. This, you wouldn't believe how sweet this tastes. That's the natural way to consume stevia. And I've heard and I believe that that white powdered stuff is not particularly healthy. That's a processed version, and they're just trying to make it look like sugar. You can buy this in a powdered green form that hasn't been altered in any way, shape, or form at your health food store, your co-op. That's the best way to get it.
This is my winter garden right here. And the great thing about a winter garden is that there's very little weeding because the Bermuda grass all dies out after the first few frosts. And there is very little watering because we're in the wet season in Tennessee. So it's pretty much till, plant, and eat. And I'll come out and do some weeding. We have a lot of corn coming in where I till that under. And but my winter garden is my favorite garden because the summer garden's, you know, ridden with heat, chiggers, mosquitoes, and these kinds of things. But the winter garden is just pure joy because things are happening on their own. And these are cold weather plants. They're more like your beets, your collards, your kale, and arugula, broccoli. Those kinds of
And do you have like cold, what are they called, cases? Cold, what do you call those boxes? I haven't made any yet. Cold frames, right?
No, oddly, I did that. It was a ton of work. I gave up. And in the process of letting nature take its course, I found that I usually have food 12 months of the year.
Yeah, we're Tennessee, and that's fairly far south, you know.
It is, but we get some really hard frost. We get below zero weather here, Fahrenheit, and it does get extremely cold here. But the plants, I'll come out here in the winter and I'll pull 5 or 6 plants and put them in my smoothie, put them in my salad or my juicer, and it's just amazing what actually does survive the coldest of cold here in Tennessee. And a lot of it will come right from this patch.
Cool.
So these are my sunflowers. So you see they're dying back, but they're each staying here as individual bird feeders. So you don't have to take the bird feed out in the dead of winter. They're already here providing bird food. And we get the most wonderful birds, these yellow finches and these red cardinals and just all sorts of really fancy birds. And the chipmunks come up and get them. They climb up the stalk. And then I like to come by and pick one off when I'm walking to my garden or something. And so they feed me, they feed the birds, and then they'll reseed themselves.
It's just probably really cool to see them out here flying about the plants, getting their sunflower seeds in the winter.
Yeah, it's really gratifying.
How long can they keep feeding through those?
Till they eat all the seeds.
Okay.
Or until big wind blows them down or something.
Yeah, okay.
But you see they're like 10 feet tall and they're just full of food. Each one of these has a couple pounds of food. And some of these are big. I mean, this one here is probably a 2 or 3 pound head.
Yeah.
And I harvest a lot of them and I keep them for myself. And but a lot of them will go to the birds, and then I take all the very best of the best, and I put them in a brown paper bag to use for my seed for next year. And
cool.
You can tell I'm really in love with sunflowers. This is a really special plant.
Okay, well, we're rolling, so tell us about it.
Okay, great. Okay, well, this is my roses, but what I want to show you is this plant here is fennel. And fennel is really amazing to put in smoothies and juices. It just really sweetens things up. If you got a lot of bitter herbs in there and you're having a tough time choking it down, but you know it's good for you, a little fennel in there makes a big difference. It has sort of a licorice flavor, and these seeds are edible.
It helps with digestion.
Okay, good. Yeah, it does seem
It
to.
stimulates digestion.
Okay. And these seeds here are really, really good. They have a sort of licoricey flavor. And so you can save them to replant for next year. And this is a perennial, which means it comes back every year. You know, this thing's like 3 years old, and it just puts out. Look, it's like 7-8 feet across in diameter, and it's beautiful yellow plant. It's all I have to do is trim the grass back. Well, I don't even have to. It'd probably be fine if I didn't, but I do. And it's really one of my favorites. And I come out and I pull the leaves off in the spring, and throughout the summer just to use in my diet. And it's just a really great addition.
Cool. So now what are we doing?
We're going to walk into this area here.
I notice you're not mowing a lot.
Yeah, wonderful things happen when you stop mowing. Come over here, I'll show you some of them.
You know, everyone thinks that they have to mow all their grass and this and that, and I wonder to myself, well, what are they going to do when the gas is too expensive for them to fill their mowers, and or whatever, they're too sick from breathing the exhaust from the mower, they don't have enough time to mow, they don't have enough money to fix the mower. What are they going to do when all that hits the fan? And basically they're going to...
Well, they're going to enjoy what comes to them, what's trying to be given to them.
Just let it grow.
Yeah, and I'll show you some wonderful plants here that have just grown. And mowing is an act of conquest. I'm a man. I have to conquer. Honey, I'm going to mow the lawn with my deer, and I will come back a conqueror.
Yeah.
And then you come in and you say, honey, I mowed the lawn. She goes, way to go, dear. Can I get you some food?
Yeah.
And that's the manly American thing. But what about something different? What about just mowing the edge of the lawn?
Additionally, I hate to say it, but the English, we love them so much, but I think that a lot of the proper things come from the English, and you know, they have to have everything just proper. You know, the clothes have to be proper, the yards have to be proper, everything has to be like the Queen. And it doesn't.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in England, and I see a lot of the gardens, and there's a place for live and let live.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
a place for harmony with nature, like some of the plants that are growing here. I came in here and I scattered some seeds, but right here is a persimmon tree that's growing on its own.
Yeah.
Okay. Over here is a pawpaw tree that's growing. I planted it, but it's getting all of the nutrients from the soil because we're not packing it with a mower.
Yeah.
And so that soil's aerated. And then there's a whole batch of tomato plants coming up over here that are to die for. Like, look at all these tomatoes. This is sesame seed right here. These are sesame seeds. And then we have all sorts of sorghum growing here that's 10 feet tall. It's a grass, but it's 11 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it's just full of goodness.
Yeah.
And then I planted, we take all of our compost and we put them in this garden, and all the wood waste from the lumber operation and the grounds, the brush, anything that we can put in here, things from the kitchen, we just throw it in.
Eggshells?
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. And we end up with just amazing plants and things that we can eat. And it's an act of harmony. I'm letting the nature teach me instead of me going and exerting my will on it. It's teaching me, and I'm the pupil instead of the teacher,
right?
Or instead of the conqueror.
And I should say that there is a place for processing and for organizing, etc. But the world that we live in has too much processing and organizing and etc. It's just not. It's not conducive to time management. Okay, so Paul's going to show us sorghum, and we're going to have a little taste of it.
Hey, this plant is sweet sorghum. I was at the Amish country last year in October, and they were doing their sorghum process, and I asked for some seeds, which I was happily granted a bag of seeds. I came out here and I scattered them. I didn't dig a hole and plant them. I just broadcasted them, like throw them out. And we got these huge plants. They're really tall and doing really well. And there are just magical properties to it. You break a plant, it's like a big piece of grass, basically. You break it off, snap it.
It's kind of like sugar cane.
Exactly. It's just like sugar, but it'll grow in Tennessee. See, I don't think sugar cane will grow here. My family's from a long chain of sugar growers. In Cuba, we used to grow sugar. But now we're growing sorghum. And if you taste this, it's unbelievable. It tastes like apple cider or something. It's really good. Now, this isn't quite ripe. We have probably another month for the sweetness to come in. But the nutritional profile on this plant is off the charts.
Good.
Yeah, it's good. Tastes great.
Yummy.
But it's not like it's not like soda or something that's pasteurized. This is loaded with enzymes, and the nutritional profile for this plant is off the charts. It's like up there with wheatgrass and some of the healthier foods that people eat, and it tastes unreal. And there's a special machine that you get to juice it, but you can just break it off and eat it like sugar cane. You can cut it with clippers. I just broke this off by hand. But I think this has tremendous potential in Tennessee as a way to really help kids, because kids want something sweet. You know? They know they like sweet.
And there always has to be an adequate substitute for anything that you're trying to get rid of. And if it's sugar, this is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it just really tastes great. And it's juicy. When you break it open, you can see the juice coming out of it. I can feel it on my hands. And you know how red grapes are supposed to be really good because of there's something in that red pigment that's really special.
Right.
Reversatrol, I think it's called.
It's supposed to be good for as an antioxidant.
Oh, okay. And there it is right there. And so this plant carries all of that.
Oh, wow.
And if you read the nutritional breakdown of the green juice, not the refined sorghum, not the one that's been heated and the enzymes killed, but the green juice that comes out of this, it's absolutely mind-blowing. The amount of nutrition you get from it.
I wonder if you could take one of those crank turn juicers that they use for the sugar cane, and just take one of those and stick it in there, and it'd do the same thing.
We need something like that. That's the next step. I'm only this far along. If anyone out there knows an inexpensive, effective way to
They have them in, like, South American countries. You just walk down the road, and the guy will take a sugar cane and stick it in one of those things, put a glass under it, and crank it, and there you got juice. That's
what we need. That's the next step. And I'm early in on the process, but growing it's a breeze. Look, I can do this by throwing, like planting a lawn. You just throw the seed out there. I didn't water it or anything.
And, you know, it really reminds me of amaranth, because the amaranth gets even taller than that, and it has huge bushes on it. And quinoa and amaranth are just such superfoods, and they're going to be the definite substitutes for, like, wheat and corn and rye and all those foods that people are having problems with. The little round grains are so much healthier and easier to digest, and these really look like amaranth. Not as big. The amaranth have huge bushes on them, and they're all different colors, and you can buy them organically. And anyway, so
these are the seeds, so you keep these for next year.
Oh, wow.
And you want to get them from multiple plants so you have a good gene pool. But I think there's also properties, nutritional properties to these that I haven't even tapped into yet. But look how much, there's like a pound of something there, and maybe food. And so that has to be explored, what to do with those. They're grain, and there might be really beneficial properties to that, things you could do with it. You might be able to make wine with it. You might be able to do some sort of grain recipe with it. I have yet to explore that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
What we have here is a pawpaw tree. Pawpaw is spelled P-A-W-P-A-W, and it's a native tree to Tennessee, and it's a really, really good fruit-bearing tree. We have the pawpaw and the persimmon here, which are indigenous, and just really prolific with fruit. And so this one was newly planted, and it's coming up really strong. It's in our food forest. And
how long has it taken to get that big?
It's taken a couple of years. It came as a small plant, about that big, and now you see it's taller than me, and it's really thriving here. So,
and how long do you think till it produces?
Probably another 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've got other pawpaws around here, so I can pollinate with them. And the fruits are delicious. It's a lot like a custardy banana, but it's different than a banana, and it's different than anything else you'll ever taste. I've tasted them a couple times. But we really want to grow our own fruit in Tennessee. We want to be able to have local fruit instead of having to go to other states and go to the tropics and have something shipped from Chile. You know, they're doing a great job in Chile taking care of us by sending their apples up and so forth. But we want our own, and we want to send our own to them.
Yeah.
And so this tree grows here, and it's such a great use of space because it's growing on 3 dimensions. Whereas if you're growing corn or wheat, you're really only on 1 dimension. But this tree will grow up maybe 20 feet, 15 feet, and you'll have fruit on many dimensions, and you can harvest them and do things with them to keep them all year, like freeze them or preserve them or things like that. And it tastes really, really good, and it's, of course, very nutritious. And we want to really...
These are all important things, because the higher the gas prices get, the more it's going to be difficult and the more expensive it's going to be, and the harder on the environment it's going to be to bring fruit from Chile or wherever it may be.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Here I am, overwhelmed with food plants again. Here we have a mulberry. I planted this about 3 years ago. It was very small, about a foot tall, and it grows like crazy. It had a drought the first year, and it died way back, and it's still, look at it, it's just absolutely going to the moon. And we've had mulberries off of this. They're very good, very easy to take cuttings.
Now, I ate some last night. Your wife made me some banana something ice cream in the blender and added mulberries on top. Good. Oh, they were good.
And it's so easy to propagate. You can plant the seeds, or you can take the cuttings. And then right in beside it, we have a persimmon tree here, which is a fantastic fruit tree. And then here we have lamb's quarters just barging in and trying to steal the show. And it's just, this is your wild.
And these are just good to eat raw.
Yeah, go ahead and try it. And lamb's quarters all over the place. We have yellow dock.
I learn more and more all the time.
So we're just coming in. This is yellow dock, also known as a very good food for flour. I put it in my smoothies. And so here you have a very small space that I've sort of let grow wild, but I didn't plant the persimmon or the mulberry. I mean, I planted the mulberry, but not the persimmon or the lamb's quarters or the yellow dock. It just comes in on its own. And so it's just an amazing thing if you...
Free food.
Yeah, free food. If you live and let live, you'd be amazed at what comes your way.
Now, this is like a natural wooden teeter-totter. And from what I understand, Paul and Melanie could not do this before because Paul weighed so much more.
That's right. It's sad to say.
But now we're able to pull it off by Paul moving up a little bit and then Melanie moving back. But
yeah, I used to have to sit in front of the block, which wasn't too good because you were holding on the back, and that was a bit precarious.
And there's a fraternity story in regards to this?
Yeah, this is at Belmont University in Nashville. Here they have a fundraiser every year, and they take this and they seesaw for like 48 hours or some ridiculous amount of time that only kids could do. And they raise lots and lots of money, and it's all for a good cause, and then they bring it back.
Cool.
Much to the delight of our daughter.
Yeah. But my sons are seniors this year, so I don't know what the fate of it is. And one of my sons in the fraternity came over, and we put it together one evening and had a lot of fun. And it's been going for about 3-4 years now.
Well, it's cool.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to conclude this video with this teeter-tottering. This is the end. But thank you so much, Paul and Melanie, for taking us on a tour of your farm, your beautiful farm here in Nashville.
Well, you're welcome, and thanks for watching, and we look forward to hearing your input in the comments below, etc.
Yeah. Okay.